My name's Eli Delaney, and I have the honor of meeting some pretty cool people. These are the entrepreneurs, the artists, the creatives, the game changers that are making a positive impact in the people that they meet. And I'm a firm believer that the people that you meet can get you anywhere you want to go. And this show is my way of sharing them with you. It's my way of also helping you meet cool people. All right, welcome back, my friends. Eli here, and we have another cool guest for the Meet Cool People show, James Allen. So he and I got introduced through a Facebook group. He was looking for guests for his podcast. I ended up having the honor to be on the show, had a great time. We hit it off, and I was like, okay, yeah, I got to have this dude on my show. So let me give you a little bit of background. James has a mission of teaching knowledge-based business entrepreneurs how to grow and scale their online business and building a business off of authenticity and generosity, which you know is a big thing for me. He helps the students turn their knowledge and expertise into lean, profitable, scalable, passive income style businesses through online courses, memberships, coaching, all while working under 20 hours a week. Because, we're all entrepreneurs. We end up working whichever 12 hours a day we want. Let's fix that. So with that said, I would want to bring in James. James, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Eli. Super stoked for this.
All righty. So tell us a little bit more. I mean, I gave you kind of a basic little intro, but how did you get started in this online marketing world? Because it's a very interesting world and we all have our stories with it.
Yeah. So in 2018, I left construction work and I was following my dad's footsteps. I didn't know what I wanted to do for a career. I was out of high school. And then in 2018, it was years after high school that I finally realized that I need to leave. So I finally took the leap to start a coaching business because I found out about the whole coaching industry and that you can get paid to help people and teach them stuff and share your knowledge. And I'm like, that is amazing. That's what I want to do. So I went through Mary Morrissey's Brave Thinking Institute. It used to be called Life Mastery Institute. And that just kind of set me up with the foundation, the confidence, more importantly, I got multiple certifications over even more years until I finally decided to be like, let's do it. And I just kept milking it, honestly, for a long time because I was nervous and I didn't have any entrepreneurial people in my immediate family, some uncles and stuff. So it was a big step for me. But then I started and I was coaching people with life coaching and spiritual life coaching. And I learned a lot about listening to your intuition, which I still coach today because it's huge, just the spiritual principles and how the universe works and stuff. And I love that stuff. But it got kind of difficult to market because what's life coaching? People pay for results. And I realized that pretty early on. So I was also working with people and I felt kind of like a therapist more than anything. And I'm like, this isn't what I want. I wanted to help people with careers in some way that they could do work that they enjoy and not have to be working all the time. And I was always intimidated by digital marketing and marketing in general because I had been burned by a lot of marketing coaches and I didn't want to be one of those people, which turned into a motivator because I'm like, okay, well, I can kind of put a stamp in the industry that this isn't what being a marketing coach really means. And I learned more about marketing and I still was really hesitant, but I always wanted to do stuff I'm doing now. So I started doing productivity coaching. I made a pivot in my niche because I learned a lot about how to just be efficient. I was always obsessed, even before I was doing what I'm doing today, about how can I work fewer hours, not be working all the time, and also be able to grow my income. So that led to productivity stuff. I was working with a bunch of clients and that's where I found out about digital products, turning them into passive income, automations, that kind of stuff, email marketing. So I built 6 different digital products that didn't make me any money and funnels and stuff. And I'm like, this is terrible. And I would say I was shamefully spooning a pint of Haagen-Dazs, just staring at my computer with $0 staring back at me. And that's what it felt like. And I'm just like, this is bad. So I found a couple great mentors, Graham Cochran and Ramit Sethi. And Graham actually learned from Ramit. So I like to learn from my mentors' mentors.
Right.
And that they taught me, the biggest thing that they taught me that I wasn't doing, I could film videos and all this stuff and, write emails. Not necessarily they were great, but it was customer research. And that was the big thing that really, I didn't really put any emphasis on. I figured that I could just build stuff that people were paying for and that was enough. And it's that's good because that people are interested in this topic, but you still have to do your formal customer research and think about how you can kind of like answer those questions. And also keeping a document just filled with different emotionally charged phrases of pains, hopes, dreams, and desires, obstacles, and uncertainties that people have, and addressing all that stuff in my emails and sales copy before they even get to the product. Like that was the game changer. Because I learned that, with a digital product in a funnel, it's not like a sales call where you can ask me questions, I can ask you questions, it's ebb and flow. With a sales funnel, it's rigid, so it has to be perfect, and you have to really know your audience and what they care about, what they want, and make sure your product is something that's actually meaningful to them, and objections along the way that you can teach and crush basically before they get to the product. So that was the biggest thing. And then I finally woke up, launched my productivity course, and I made like $200 in my sleep. And I was like, this is amazing. And at this time I have done $10,000 days and months in my business, but it always had to be on a phone call, and then seeing that $200 without ever meeting the person, just from some YouTube videos and emails, and then a simple landing page. And I made 200. Someone trusted me enough to give me $200. I was like, this is amazing. And then a few weeks later, I made $300. And then a stream of income turned into like paying for my rent every month. And, it just continued to grow. And I'm like, wow, this is like a thing. And it was just one stream. I still love coaching. It's a huge part of my business. But just being able to make money without actively having to work was a game changer. So I was working with clients. They started asking me, it came up in conversation like, wow, that's really cool. Can you help me with that? Because they were a lot of coaches and entrepreneurs. And I was like, I guess, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And then I helped people make money, and they were doing it themselves, making their first like passive sales. And I'm like, this is actually a thing that I can do. And I felt credible enough so that I finally started Profit Your Knowledge. And that's pretty much what led me here.
Nice. Very cool. You just unpacked a whole bunch in that very short amount of time. Yeah. One of the things that I always love this, because you got into more the life coaching side of things. And I think it's really funny. You brought up the fact that you ended up being like more of a therapist than anything else, that's what it felt like. Is a lot of times when we have clients, that's part of what our goal is, or not our goal, but our job ends up being, is to help get our clients through the rough times. Mm-hmm. And I always think that that's really important that we keep that in mind, because you're going to do that no matter what kind of coaching you do with clients. So just be prepared for it. But a lot of people don't realize how deep that can actually go. But I think it's important. I think it's important that, like with me, a lot of the stuff that I do, I teach about automation and follow-up. And those are my special areas, but it's also about the relationship building, because I am very big into how do we keep that relationship going using the tools and technology that we have. And what ends up happening a lot of times is that people come from a place of, well, I just want to be hands off completely. Now, what are your thoughts on the difference with that? Because like for me personally, it's like, no, we use these things to leverage our time, but that does not mean we don't actually have conversations with real people. What are your thoughts on that? Passive income isn't really passive. Like few things are truly passive. If you're doing like investments and things like that, then that's a lot more passive. But it's what you said. It's leveraging these tools that we have at our disposal, and there's so many. It's crazy. It's crazy how much you can automate. Like you can create, I like to call it a digital sales team. And that's what it is, because everything points together to a product page, and then if you make a really good sales page that starts converting and you're driving a good flow traffic to it and people are landing on it and they're paying you even like $100, that's just cool, but it could be hundreds, thousands of dollars even. You created a digital salesperson that never takes a break and is always working for you. So it's really amazing. But even still, when you get the system running, you got the right emails, sales copy, and all that cool stuff, people still need to find you somehow, which you could do paid ads, but you still got to create the ad. You still got to monitor the ads and make sure things are working. That's all work, you also, I like to create content. I love YouTube and then podcasting as well. But you have to make content, which means you have to show up, but that can take like an hour. It could take 30 minutes even to create some content that drives traffic to your business. So it's having a good system, but it still takes work. It's just something that I wish people would like really understand about passive income, quote unquote.
is it's going to take ongoing work, but it should be stuff that is fun for you, like creating content. It's fun getting out there, sharing your message. Like that's the stuff that I hear from people all the time, especially if they've been doing it for a while. They're like, I just want to like show up and do the work. That's what they say, meaning that they want to share their message and they want to actually coach people. So it's really like the marketing and sales that bothers people. And they're like, I don't want to do that. I want to have to be like, make a post and then follow up with the 100 people or whatever, you know, and that's understandable.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I'm like, there's people too who are like automate everything. And I love automations. And then there's people who are like high ticket is the only way, and relationships. And it's true. I mean, the relationship piece, no matter what, that's how you grow a business coaching. Yeah. If you're coaching people, you're sharing your knowledge, like it's people helping people, which means that's relationships. So it's all about relationships, but like where you shine, Eli, is doing relationships at scale. And that's the whole different ball game that a lot of people don't play at. And that's where I think that is the real game changer for a lot of people, is learning how to do that.
Right. Awesome. I love that. And it is so true, because it is about the relationship it is so key when you're looking to scale to still keep that in mind. And a lot of people miss that. So let's go back into the course concept, because, you know, there's a million people at teaching, you need to have a course. So what is your methodology to figuring out what should that first course be for somebody that is going to, number one, it's going to leverage their time. Two, it's going to get them in front of more people. And three, get those people results at the same time. Because that's where I think that the combination of those three things are pieces that are missing. And there's a ton of people that pitch, I'm going to build your course kind of stuff. And usually it ends up being crap. And you and I both know that. We've been in that. We've seen those before. So what are you doing differently with your clients to help them build something that's going to actually get those three results for them?
Yeah. So my whole thing is start small.
Okay.
Start small. Okay. So there's a story about Eric Ries, who wrote the book, The Lean Startup. Eric Ries had this, idea to build this one software called IMVU, and it mixed like 3D gaming with instant messaging. So you can create like a digital avatar and talk to people. And they thought it was the bee's knees. They thought it was like the coolest thing in the world. And they got really big partners involved and tons of funding, like AOL and all these big partners involved in it. And they were putting all this money, all this time, like 6 months of crazy long hours and hard work into building this thing. And when they finally launched it, nobody downloaded it. Not a soul. And they were devastated. So Eric Ries started interviewing his audience and talking to them, sitting down, flying them out to his office and whatever it took just to sit down and be like, why didn't this work? And as he spoke with them, he realized that all of his assumptions that he and his team had about what they really wanted were completely wrong. And that's what course creators do, and people building digital products. You know, that we just assume that people want this thing, and this is that customer research piece. And then we build it, and then nothing happens. And then we get mad, and then we blame courses. And it's like, it's not courses, you know. A course is no different than a book. But people don't give books a hard time. It's because I guess you could charge less for a book. But like, how many people buy a book and just leave it on the shelf, you know? And that's it. People do it with courses too. It's just a different vehicle to get the same result. So anyway, Eric ended up talking to his audience, realized all of his assumptions were totally wrong, but he was also grateful, like he was frustrated and grateful that he found out what they actually did want. And then he wasn't going to relive, you know, another 6 months creating some huge project like they did the first time. So this time he started creating what's known as minimum viable products, or MVPs, which the definition is an early basic version of a product that can be improved up over time, especially after customer feedback. It's a very important definition, because that's what we can do with digital products, whether it's an ebook, an online course, you know, templates, whatever you want, really. I recommend online courses, because let's say you have an ebook or even a physical book too, and then you have an online course. The perceived value of an online course is significantly greater. than an ebook because, I have to read the whole thing. Some people love reading, totally fine. But that's why you can see an ebook that usually is priced around like 20, maybe up to like $100 is usually like the really high point of an ebook. But then the online course is going to be 200 to 500 or even thousands of dollars for an online course because the format is different. But the crazy thing is that it can be the same exact content as the book or the ebook, but it's because it's video, because it has audio downloads as well. It has templates. It has all this stuff that makes it a more robust package, which is why we should focus our time on online courses. That's what I recommend.
Right.
But how do you make it be transformative? That's the real question. So you talk to your audience, and the goal is to find where are they at right now related to this. Like you're like, I want to make a course about this. I'm making a course currently about podcasting and my podcast strategy. But even still, even though like I know it works, and I'm guinea pigging currently right now a couple of clients with it, but I'm still doing the research of where are people at when it comes to podcasting. What are they saying about podcasting? And even like getting clients in their business, because it's a way to get clients with your business and grow your business. So I'm thinking, what are the pain points people have, the challenges, frustrations they have? And then what are the dreams people have? What if people say, I just wish that I could have this. I just want this. Those are all dreams that they have related to whatever you're teaching. And then you want to think about the brick wall that's getting in the way. So where they're at, where they want to be, what's stopping them? Why haven't they done it yet? And you want to find emotionally charged phrases. A lot of ways you can do this. I'm making a video next week on my YouTube channel about market research, going over like 6 different ways. But you can look in Reddit. There's a ton of great information. So type in a question that your audience would say and just add Reddit or Quora into the Google search. And then you'll pop up a bunch of Reddit threads related to that. And you can find where people are really just asking questions, sharing their frustration. You can find so much gold in there. And what I recommend is create a Google Doc or a sheet of some kind. It could be a spreadsheet as well. But you have challenges, pains, and frustrations as one section, and then hopes, dreams, and desires as another, and then obstacles, barriers, and uncertainties. So 3 sections. And as you find information in Reddit threads, you can go look in Amazon book reviews, YouTube comments, Facebook groups. There's a little search icon. You can type in keywords like struggle, challenge, frustration. I'm frustrated. And it will pop up any post with those words inside of a group. And you can find literal conversations that people are having, sharing their frustrations or dreams with you. The best way, though, by far, if you want fast customer research, is to get on calls with people. By the way, it's the best because, with threads and stuff like that and online forums and whatnot, sure, you can find some great stuff, but on a conversation, you can dig deep and you can control the conversation and be like, what do you mean by that? Why is that so frustrating for you? Why is this so important to you? And you really get to like the deep emotional reason. And that's the goal that you want to build your business around. So when you're building digital products, what happens when you're doing customer research is you start to see common threads and trends of people saying, this is like, everybody pretty much wants this. For example, when I was building my productivity course, it was called Peak Focus Academy. Probably not the best name, but it's okay. But the reason I did that was because that's what people wanted. They're like, I want to just maintain focus. I want to be able to focus on things that actually move the needle and focus. That was a word that kept coming up. And that was that product that finally sold compared to all the other ones. So even like the name of your program can also come from that customer research and what they really want. And that's all like part of creating great product. But when you want to create a small product, so what I recommend is when you find this thing that the majority of people want, the transformation, because that's what people pay for, is transformation. We don't pay for a course. We pay for the outcome that course is going to help us achieve. Then I recommend creating like 5 to 7 lessons, and you can create a simple sheet. You can have a whiteboard or whatever, be like, this is the pain the majority of people are dealing with. This is the outcome the majority of people want. What are 5 to 7, maybe 10 steps that I can have this person take to get from point A to point B the fastest way possible? And that is going to become, those steps are going to become your course lessons. And then you can record them. You could start literally on your phone. It's crazy how much value we have inside of our pocket with the phone and how great these cameras are. But also sometimes it's great just to do a screen share, and that's where you can use a tool like Loom, and it's really easy videos, but you can just do a whole screen share program like that. And that's pretty much like what it starts as. And you price it, a course like that, I'd recommend price it between 50 to 150 bucks.
Mm,
Like nothing crazy.
right.
Because that's like, that's a good price point. Anywhere from 50 to 200 bucks, something like that. Really good price point to where when you have enough people purchasing, you can actually make some really good income. It doesn't have to be $1,000 program. It can be a relatively low ticket, but that also gets people in the door compared to having like $500,000 course. It's like, whoa, okay, I got to think about this a little bit. I got to consult with some people and myself. But with a $100 product that really speaks to that pain and desire people have, it's like, okay, that's not that bad. And then when they go in, it's not super overwhelming. It's condensed. And as long as it gets them the transformation they want, that's what really matters. Because people think that more content means more value, and that's not always true. People want the transformation. So if you can get them the same transformation in 5 lessons compared to 20, and it gets them the result, they're going to thank you for it.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things that I find is, you talked about several things there that I want to touch on. One of them, just this last bit, was the fact that the answer is not how much can I add to the program? It's how can I get them the results they're looking for? And if that is in a very small, simplified, do 1, 2, 3, then that's all you need. Because if they can get results off of that, they're going to be excited. And that's where somebody's going to want to go to the next level. Now, you talked about something else that I wanted to talk about here for a second, was a lot of times people overcomplicate and overwhelm themselves with the idea of creating a course and all the, how does it have to be perfect? And do I have to go into a studio and all these different things? And you brought up Loom as a tool that we use. Like I use Loom literally daily. When it came out, I was amazed because I come from the old school where Camtasia was the tool to use, and you record a video and then you have to edit the video and then you have to export it and you go have lunch while you're waiting for it to export. And then you have to upload it to some random place and hope you have a player that'll work on your website, all these other crazy things, where Loom just makes this like, boom, it's done. It's recorded. It's fast. I can record a Loom and embed it on a website in 2 minutes, So we have these tools. And by the way, Loom, for anybody who hasn't used it before, it's loom.com, I believe.
Yeah.
And the paid version is like $100 for the year, if even that. It might even be less than that.
Yeah. And the big difference is on the free version, like this is the major difference. You only get 5 minutes of recording time.
Right.
So I don't use Loom a crazy amount. I do for like clients, if I'm like, I need to show them something quick.
Yeah.
But I keep paying for the subscription because when I need it, it's like so worth it. Because I'm not going to make like a 5 minute, it's like sometimes I need to go into a bit more depth. When I need it, that's why I keep saving it.
Right. No, and I agree with this. Like when I started actually paying for it, which was years and years ago now, I was like, you know what? I want to give these guys money just because they've been so good for me. They've helped me so much. Yeah. And the reality is, here's a little trick for people. If you want to use the free version and it limits you to 5 minutes, that means break it down into small chunks, which is what you should be doing anyway. So if you can make your videos, you to be concise. It forces you to be concise and do short 5-minute videos that are easy for people to consume instead of taking 5 minutes and taking 45 minutes to do it in. Because we as speakers, coaches, experts, we like to talk a lot. And a lot of times we forget that we're supposed to shut up and breathe once in a while. So I've actually told a lot of my clients, I'm like, all right, I highly recommend the paid version of Loom because it is worth every penny of it. But I want you to start with the free version and see if you can cut these into 5-minute videos for the purpose of keeping them short. And then go ahead and give them your money because they deserve it anyway. Right. But that is something that's, we have these, if you want to do presentations, you do, like for me, I'm doing screen share stuff because I'm going over people's copy. I'm helping with their emails. I'm sharing examples of tools and technology, going through our CRMs, all that kind of stuff. I literally use, like I said, I use Loom every single day. Sometimes I will record 2 hours worth of Looms in, 5-minute increments throughout a single day because I'm using it so much. It is such a powerful tool. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, if you use Loom and you want to record a video of you can do that too. You just don't screen share, but you do turn on the camera. Now it's a video of you and it's still a good quality video. and it's up, it's done, it's ready to embed on a website in 2 minutes. It's super, super easy. So
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about this is like creating courses used to be a big deal. Like we used to have $2,000 courses, but there was a lot of work that we had to put into all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as complicated with all the tools and technology we have today. It's
Yep.
so much easier. We have such amazing technology to make things easier to do it. The key is how can we take the knowledge that you have and share it in a way that's going to get people results. So they get the results, they're happy with it, they're happy with their investment, and they want to come back for more.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing I hear all the time is I have hundreds of course ideas. Which one do I build first? And I'm like, you build the one that your audience wants.
Mm-hmm.
Go talk to them. Get in a
Yeah.
conversation with, always be talking to your audience. I mean, with my podcast, I'm always having conversations with creators, but I'm always just researching just in my
Mm-hmm.
leisure time because I like learning about them. And I mean, I am part of my audience too, we're just experts, coaches, creators, and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like if you have 100 ideas, if it's actually 100, pick 3 of the
Right.
best ones where you're like, I would love to build a program, any one of these 3, and then pitch it to your email list. I
Yeah.
did that with my podcast one because I was like, I'm thinking about, revamping this productivity course with some more, business related stuff and kind of revamping this old one that I did. And it was either that or my podcast strategy that's going to go over this. And it was a really short email, just like, hey, which one would be more valuable to you? Just give me a 1 or a 2
Mm-hmm.
and I'll know. And people were just sending me a bunch of messages back. And the majority of people wanted number 2, which was the podcast one. So I'm like,
Right.
cool. Now
Yeah.
I know which one to build.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Yeah.
And that's the one you build.
Yeah. You brought up, that actually reminded me of the other thing I wanted to talk in more detail about was you're talking about actually talking to your prospects, talking to people.
Yeah.
It is such a powerful tool to do that. I did that a while back and I just posted on Facebook. I didn't even send it to my list. I posted on Facebook and said, hey, I have some questions. I'm looking at revamping my coaching program for the new year. And this is for speakers, coaches in that arena, people that are using speaking as a marketing tool. I have some questions. I'm not pitching anything. I will not sell you something on this call, but I'm looking for 10 people that I can just jump on a quick little 15-minute call with to ask a few questions to make sure that I can make the best of the program as I'm rebuilding stuff for the new year. Who's in? That is something to that effect.
Yeah.
I ended up on probably 20 calls with a whole bunch of people that had some amazing insights to help share, and where I knew most of it was really good because that's stuff I was already thinking is the direction I wanted to go. And they helped validate that for me, which was great. And then there was a few people that gave me some ideas I'd never even thought of before. And so, that's a great way to do it. The kicker with it is when you come into those, you want to make sure that people are aware you are doing research and you're not going to try to pitch them immediately. It's not a sales call. And like my big thing was this, I will not sell you anything on this call. If you're interested, we can schedule a totally separate call about that, but that's not what this is about. I want to pick your brain on how I can help deliver more value. And people want to, especially your prospects and your clients, they want to help you. They want that because they end up with a better result because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think thinking about it and doing also if you're doing a lot of sales calls in your business, like that is the crux of market research of those 3 points I shared. Where are you at? Where do you want to be? Why do you think you haven't gotten there yet? What's getting in the way?
Right.
That's the gist of a sales call right there.
Right.
So anytime I finish sales calls, I take notes, and find those emotionally charged phrases because they come out all the time on sales calls. And then copy them and paste them into my document afterwards. So that's part of this conversations. But yeah, even just reaching out to people and being like, hey, I just want to do market research. Like the difference between the sales call and the research call is the question of, do you want help with that? That's kind of the only thing. It's like after you've done like, where you at, where do you want to be? What's getting in the way? It's like, okay, well, do you want help with that? And people are like, yes, please. And okay, cool. And then we could talk about working together. But if you just don't leave it there, which ironically a lot of people do when they're trying to make sales. They just don't ask that, do you want help with it? So they're just doing research calls.
Yeah, let's clarify that for anybody who's not paying attention. If you actually do want to make a sale, you do have to ask the question. That's the difference between these two calls. So if your goal is to actually make some money, you do actually have to ask for the sale.
Right. Yeah. So funny. People are like, how come I'm not making money? I'm doing all these calls, and they watch their call and then they never even ask for a sale or be like, get it to that point. Yeah. That's funny. But that's the most powerful way, because you can dig deep. And that's really the big thing. When I was building my first program where I was doing the customer research, a productivity course, I did a ton of customer research, which was great. And I also filled up my document with a bunch of useless information. So less is more, but better. That is the goal with this. Like, really look for emotionally. I was just putting everything I could in this document. Then I'm going through trying to find stuff like, why do I have this in here? Delete. Yeah. And then ended up with a way more condensed, but really valuable, like, war chest, basically, of just awesome emotionally charged phrases. Because you put that on your website copy, you put it in your emails. Yeah. And it's like, one thing, for example, this was a sales call I was on. The guy ended up signing up with me, but even if he didn't, I would have got some really great language that I still put into my sales copy. And one thing he said was, like, he didn't have any tech involved in his business, partially because he was kind of intimidated by the tech, which is super common. And he said, I feel like I'm running on a treadmill in my business. And I was like, that's good. I was like, that is awesome. So I wrote it down, and it's like, that's just such a great picture. Yeah. And he also said, it feels like I'm putting the plow before the horse, which is another great phrase that, you can say that and people are like, that's how I feel, when they're reading your copy, like, this guy gets me. And that's what makes, like, your copy way more powerful.
And one of the things, let me add something with that too, is that, going back to it, because we're both technology geeks, so we gotta throw a tool in there. If you're doing these, you need to be recording these kind of calls, because record the calls, and then there's a lot of services out there. Otter is one of them that we use. I have some other ones that I use that they'll do even better stuff with it, but you can get that transcribed, and you take that transcription and you're getting their exact words, the exact language. And that is so, so powerful, because I do that even when I'm working with clients, when I'm helping them with their copy, like for their writing their emails and such. I record the conversations, I transcribe those conversations, and I'm literally pulling words right out of that, because I know that's their language. That's how they speak. And if you can do that with your clients, the prospects that have the problems, they're going to become your clients because you're talking their language. And that's so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Copy should be conversational, not like corporate.
Always.
It becomes conversational when you are using their language and speaking to the person. Like, I get that you're feeling this way. It's okay. It's not your fault, stuff like that.
Yep. I love it. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. So, first question for you is, if there's one action step people can get out and do today, what would that be?
I would say customer research. I think most people don't even do that. That's what we spend a lot of time talking about here. And I know, because I didn't do it. Obviously, it's hard for me just to tell you exactly what you need, because this is just a podcast recording. But I think that really putting energy into, like, just market research and having those conversations and getting into a habit of having a document, whether it's a spreadsheet or a Google Doc, whatever you want, Evernote, I don't care really, as long as you get the information and keep track of what are the challenges, pains, and frustrations, what are their hopes, dreams, and desires, and then what are the obstacles, barriers, and uncertainties that they face related to this thing. Anytime you build a program, start from scratch, but have a new document for everyone. Every program I do, I create a new document. I start going through, because then when I start writing the emails, the sales copy, all that stuff, we get writer's block. We get stuck and are like, I don't know what to say here. Is this right? And then you look at your document and you can have the exact words, and it's much more effective. So I would say really put an emphasis on that, because I know so many people don't.
Right. I love it. I love it. So, I mean, literally reach out and just say, hey, can we have a conversation? Do that research.
Yeah.
So, and the great thing is that if you, the audience, are listening to this, this is something you can literally do right now. You can write a quick little email or quick little social media post and say, hey, I'm doing some research for this program. I got a quick question where you can do like what James said. I'm thinking about doing these two programs. Which one do you like more, A or B?
Yeah.
It could be that simple, and just start there. But you could literally do that in the next 10 minutes.
Oh yeah. It's surprising how much you can spend 1 solid hour and be shocked at how much information you have. And you're like, this is gold. And then you can find products, you can create better copy. Yeah, it's awesome.
Love it. Awesome. All right. So second to the last question. This is the Meet Cool People show. So what does meeting cool people mean to you?
I think it's this, man. It's collaboration. In the last, I want to say 8 months or so, I've really put a focus on my podcast, and it's just, and really I mean, I've been podcasting for a long time, but using my podcast as a networking tool instead of just trying to have a huge audience. And like my audience has grown significantly by doing this too, because I'm meeting more people and I go on different shows and then they find out about me. I just had someone on my podcast yesterday and he was like, your podcast is in like my top 3 podcasts next to Alex Hermosi. I'm like, what? That's so cool. And he's like, it's one of my go-to shows that I listen to. And I just thought that was amazing. And then he was on my show and it was like, I felt like I was a celebrity. It was so cool. That's awesome. Yeah. And it's having like, you're big on automation. We talked about automation at scale, but it comes down to the relationship. And I think that people can grow their business so much faster if they focus on a more narrow approach, but deeper, like less wide and shallow, more narrow and deep. And that's like where the podcast comes in handy. And then, yeah, people like, Eli, you were on my show and you're like, come over to my show. Let's have you in front of my audience. Cool. Now I just got to reach my message out there even further. So that's what meeting cool people is all about to me. It's collaboration.
Awesome. I love it. Cool stuff. Okay. Last question. Everybody's going to want to know how to get a hold of more amazing James. How do they do that? How can people find you the easiest?
Yeah, just Google Profit Your Knowledge and I will pop up. If you want, I do have a 1-hour masterclass where I go into, we talked about like the Justin Welsh, or no, I didn't share the Justin Welsh example. With Loom, Justin Welsh, his courses are actually filmed in Loom and he makes millions of dollars and they're like $150 products. So that was just something to throw in there on that other topic. But we talked about Eric Ries and the whole customer research story. That's one of the stories I share. But yeah, full 1-hour masterclass. We go over how to create great products that people actually want to buy, how to build a simple non-techie system that can sell that product for you on autopilot, and then how to drive traffic to it as well. So 3 parts. It's totally free. You can find it on my website or always just go to profityourknowledge.com/masterclass.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you coming hanging out with me today. This has been great stuff. I knew it was going to be. I mean, like I said, you and I hit it off. I ended up being a guest on your show from a post you put up there, and then we hit it off, and I was like, oh, yeah, you got to come hang out on my show and share some of your good knowledge. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Awesome. All right. So everybody listening, get out there, take some action. It's real simple. Just go send out an email, one single post. You can get it written in like 10 minutes. Send it out today. Start your research today. And with that, get out there, have an amazing week. Anything I can do to help you out, reach out and let me know. Take care. And that wraps up another Meet Cool People show. Now, if you like what you heard, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, or review so I can help introduce these amazing cool people to even more amazing cool people. And just remember, meeting cool people is just the beginning. You need to have a system in place to follow up with the amazing people that you meet. This is exactly what we do for our clients. If you'd like to see if my team and I can help you, go to followuprockstar.com and check out the case study video to see exactly how we're helping our clients turn casual connections into cash clients for life. Again, go to followuprockstar.com and we'll see how we can work together to turn you into a follow-up rockstar.